What's going on, Spurs Nation? It's your home for the post-game show that you never want to miss. After the buzzer, once that buzzer ends, you need to be heading over here or to SSPN, right, when they do their post-game shows, or to TSR, or at the line if anyone's doing all the content. Can never get enough content. But thank you guys for hanging out. Those of you guys that are here right now live, and if you're not, watching live, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, thank you for listening. Make sure to go ahead and scroll down and rate this podcast 5 stars. But what's going on, guys? The Spurs fall to the Dallas Mavericks, 99-104. With me today, guys, I got the dynamic duo of Ethan Quintero and Jude McClaren from SSPN. What's going on, fellas?
Can't. I don't know who else to say, but I'm having a great day, man. Other than the disappointing loss to the Mavericks, of course.
Okay, so we're getting a little bit jumpy on the audio again. Is that you, Ethan, or no? Can you hear that? Jude?
Yeah, I could hear it a little bit there.
All right, it's okay. We're gonna see what's up with that.
We're gonna keep we'll keep rolling with it. But going back to this game, it's just another tough string of losses in this whole, Escalade since the Magic game, basically, right? Yeah. And we were just talking about it a little bit off air, and it's just kind of frustrating because we're in every game, and it's just obviously that it's a young team. We're talented enough to win these games, but we're not experienced enough to win these games. And so I think it's just a little bit frustrating for people like you and me who are like really digging deep and watching these games and analyzing them, to where it's just we're like we want to win them so bad. We want these young guys to have that moment to because we don't want them to lose their confidence. But at the same time, it's like, this is probably how a lot of games are going to go this year, realistically.
It's not, that surprising. Like, we all kind of saw this. I think everyone kind of saw this out there coming, right? That it was like a tough first 20 games, and there's a chance that we might come out of these 20 games with a really tough record, maybe less than 5 or 6 wins out of these first 20 games. But we'll see, man. We'll see how that goes. But this was, like you said, another learning experience for this young team, and it always kind of sucks when you got to learn the hard way a little bit. But those of you guys that are watching with us, or if you're listening to this live, we do a few things on this show, right? On this post-game show, we're going to give out a game ball. We're going to talk a couple big stats. We're going to do a glow spot, and we're going to talk about a grow spot, right? That's a good area from the game, and then an area that we can still improve on. And then after we get done with those segments, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the live chat. So if you're listening to this post live, or you're watching post live, and you want to get in the chat room after a post game and talk Spurs, make sure that you tune in live after the buzzer, and go to SpursTubeTv.com to check out the schedule of post game shows coming to you guys. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, Spurs Nation, is give out a game ball. So let's get to it. There was a couple new qualifying contestants for me in tonight's game, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you, Ethan. Let's check out that audio. It's the moment of truth, right? Ethan, a game ball, man. Who you dishing it to?
I'm gonna dish it shit too. Is it working? Is it working better? No.
We still got.
Let me switch over to my normal other computer microphone. Might as well.
Go for it. We're gonna bring you back whenever you're ready. Just flag us down. All right. So, Jude, I'll throw it to you first, man. Game ball, man. Who's getting it for you tonight?
It's got to be DeJounte Murray. I know that at the end, I even have a Spurs group chat where I have some friends, and they were a little frustrated, like, DeJounte, you got to make that tip in there. But the first thing I thought when I saw that text was, yeah, but without DeJounte, there's not even an opportunity for that tip in to happen. I think also another person that at this point you could just give the game ball to every single game is Jakob Poeltl, just because of the way that he is holding down the paint for us. I mean, his rim protection. We'll get into that later. I don't want to jump forward, but going back to DeJounte, he really seems to have an effective bag, and it seemed like he got more comfortable with those mid-rangers and even the three-pointers too. His three-point shooting has improved. You can tell that sometimes he's still a little bit short on his shot overall, but it's like we're seeing less and less of that every game. And once again, I mean, another almost triple-double for him. This seems like something that could be a nightly thing, and something that Ethan said to me before on SSPN coming into this year is that if DeJounte could just get a little bit better in every category, he'd average around 27 and 7. And as more games are progressing, it really seems like that's what DeJounte may end up doing this year.
He has that ability, right? Like it's already what we're 5 games in to the season. We're 5 games in, and he already got his first one the other night, right? So I think they're gonna keep coming as well, like you guys are saying. How you doing, Ethan?
Does it sound? I know it's going to sound worse, but can you hear me?
No echo though.
No echo.
It's good.
Okay,
It's
no repeat.
You're good.
We're going back in time. Game ball. I'm going to have to echo exactly what Jude said. DeJounte Murray, for all the reasons that he said, but the biggest one for me, the biggest glaring thing, when he's on the court, we saw how we started. We started very hot. I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to blow out the Dallas Mavericks. This is going to be awesome. We're finally moving with some cohesion. Our offense looks good. Our defense looks good. We're moving in transition. And as soon as he steps off the court, we just can't find a basket, and nobody can get open. Nobody's shot can fall. And it's just his presence on the court is so profound in every way. As soon as he leaves, it's extremely noticeable, especially offensively. I mean, defensively, of course, because he's our best perimeter defender. But the fact that we can't find a bucket is just it's alarming. It's very alarming because he can't play all 48 minutes. So that's the reason he definitely deserves the game ball, because without him, it would not have been this close at all.
In those closing moments in these games, these past few games, it's been DJ, the one that has been the one to be able to put the ball in the hole. I don't know if you guys would agree with me. It's like, man, like, you know, Devin Vassell's been getting some of those late game looks. He hasn't been able to knock them down. Derek White as well, right? Like he hasn't been able to put the ball in the hole really that much. And in the end of games, it's been really just it's been DeJounte.
I'd say Lonnie a little bit too, but he gets taken out a lot at the end.
Man, I was shouting at the TV today, like, are we gonna put Lonnie and Bryn? Like, the only time I've ever caught myself asking to put Bryn in the game, late in the game, I'm like, can we put Lonnie and Bryn or one of them, please, just one of them, like in these last 2-3 minutes? But they rolled with this group, and that might be a learning thing. We'll get into that in a little bit. But late in games, man, it's been DeJounte either putting the ball in the hole or diming to Jakob, and Derek, you know, getting Jakob involved down the stretch. And those have really been, you know, only the two guys that have been able to come through for us, you know, from beginning to end, right? And ending, and most importantly, I'm talking about here, we need a couple other guys to step up down the stretch. But game ball, right? Talking about like who I'm dishing this one to. Man, I wanted to give it to Jakob again. I gave Murray the game ball a few days ago against the Lakers for his triple-double, right? Or did he have the triple-double against LA?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So he balled out. I'm going to give it to someone else, and because there was a couple, you know, new heads that popped up here, I think. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to Lonnie Walker. He got the start tonight. He was 5 for 11 from the field. Only 2 for 7 from the 3-point line, but, you know, they were big in that third quarter when Lonnie was huge for us there in that second half, especially in that third quarter. And this is actually back-to-back games where we actually get like a huge performance out of Lonnie in the third quarter coming out of halftime. So that's a good sign. That's a good trend. He made both of his free throws, 14 points tonight. I just felt like he pulled us out of that hole that, you know, I think Jakob ended up ending that 13. What did we miss? Like 13 shots in a row.
Something like that.
Yeah. Was that in the second quarter?
Yes.
It was in the second quarter, right?
Yep.
Second quarter.
And Jakob got that layup finally.
Yeah, and then Lonnie hit maybe one. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to give it to Lonnie, man. I was happy with what he did on the defensive end. Most importantly, he had a steal, I think. And that weak side help spot in the corner. I think he's shown a lot of improvement in this game as being a help defender. I think that's a huge thing for Lonnie. And him getting the starting nod today over maybe like Vassell. I'm kind of like advocating to get Vassell in that starting lineup, but I really like what Lonnie did tonight. Gave us that lift that we needed for a little bit there. So yeah, that's my game ball. So we're gonna go ahead and talk some big stats, Spurs Nation, when we get right back. Okay, so the first like stat, just whatever. Okay, right. We had a 23 to 3-point lead. Y'all want to just talk about this lead at all before we kind of get into it?
I'm
All
cool
right.
with that.
So, Ethan, let me throw it to you, man. Like, you kind of mentioned it earlier on in the episode that you were kind of riding high in the beginning of this game, but uh, what did that lead show you, if anything?
It showed me what we're capable of when we have our best 5 in the game and they're all moving with energy and with like they obviously wanted to get out and move quickly and score in transition and play great defense, and they did that, and they were very good at that. And it seemed to me like as soon as the second unit started to come in, we kind of like took our foot off the gas a little bit. Which is, unfortunately what's going to happen when we have such a young team. They're just not experienced in that level. They don't know you got to keep your foot on the gas for all 48 minutes, or a team like the Mavericks with an MVP caliber player is going to make their run and come back and ultimately win the game. But that small run we had in the first quarter, that's the ceiling, I think, this season. That's what we have to look forward to. If everybody can get on the same page, and just the pace of our offense was amazing. We were forcing a lot of turnovers. We were active hands. Everybody was playing together with a lot of vocalization on communication, on defense. Everything was working. There were no flaws in our game for that small run, and we just couldn't keep it up moving into the second quarter. And ultimately, it just we could never find that momentum again once we lost it.
Yeah. What do you think, Jude?
I mean, I was texting a friend earlier, and I was like, we came in, like the beginning of this game, we came in and it was like, oh, these dudes are pissed off from the Lakers game. I read what Devin said, it's really frustrating losing all these close games. And it was like in that first minute, they just took it out on the Mavericks. And then afterward, when they were like, oh, we're up like 25-2 or whatever, we're good. And they weren't good. and they learned. And it's going back, it's a very talented team, a very young team, but a team, without experience.
So I'm sure like everybody was looking at the score in that first quarter, like, what the heck is going on?
There you go.
Oh, there we go. My bad.
You're good.
My bad. How long were you up there?
Just like 5
not long enough.
There you
go. Man, sorry, Jude, if that
You're
was
good.
if that was over you.
No.
I thought I had put him away a little bit earlier. Anyways, no, dude, you're absolutely right. I heard that Dallas actually found themselves like in a 16-2 hole when they played against Toronto a few games ago. So it was like 18-3, and then it's like, oh, okay, here we go again. So they had actually been in this position before where they start off extremely, extremely slow. And then I didn't know if maybe it was Dallas. Was it us playing good, or was it Dallas just kind of not bringing it? I think they had like 2 turnovers and like 4 or 5 missed shots, right, in that opening sequence.
Yeah.
And we took advantage of that, right? Like we took advantage of that, and we built that lead, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. I was very excited, just like you guys. I was like, oh my god, we're killing them. I was like, oh my god, what the hell's going on? I was like, oh my god, we're gonna take this division, right? I was already hyped up. But no, so that went away. Okay, so any other big stats from you, Jude? I'm gonna throw it to you first, man.
Yeah, so my big stats and one of the few positives, we got Ethan up there again. I guess it's just not it doesn't want to show me. It doesn't want to show me.
Nah, that was
at
on
all.
purpose.
No,
that was on purpose.
There we go. But going back to the big stat, so 11 blocks in the third quarter. We had already had our season high, even though it's only 4 or 5 games, with 9 in the third quarter. And obviously you saw that Derek block later, which was crucial, even though it ended up, being for naught in the end, not getting the W. But still, Jakob's rim protection and the tenaciousness of him and Derek. And I believe there are some other guys who contributed some blocks tonight as well. But those 2 guys for sure, despite Derek's struggles throughout the season, the one thing that he's done really well is block. And that's what the whole team did really well tonight. And you love to see that. I was Eubanks. That's who I forgot. He had 2 blocks tonight. Yes, Eubanks came in and had 2 blocks tonight. And that's huge. That was that was something he hadn't done in the past couple games that we saw. So if he can do that and Jakob can do that consistently, that'll be huge for our rim protection and paint defense.
What do you think, Ethan?
Big stat. There's 2 for me. We shot 40% from 3-point land, which is really good. A pretty good improvement from the previous games. That's a great thing. But however, we still shot 64% from the free throw line, and that's just not gonna cut it. We missed 7 in a row last game, and now we're still not shooting well at all. And it's unfortunately Keldon Johnson and Jakob Poeltl, and Derek missed. Oh no, not Derek. Excuse me. Just Keldon Johnson and Jakob Poeltl. They're really dragging down that efficiency down from the line. We have to hit those shots if we're going to win these games. Like we would have won the Lakers game, and we really would have been right there to win this game if we were just knocking down those easy free throws.
If we made all of them, we would have won tonight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's little things. I think I talked about that too in the last episode. I was just like, it's funny because look, yes, we're 1-4. It sucks. Our record does not show how kind of awesome we're playing right now. And what does tell you is that yeah, we're 1-4, but our 4 losses come within 25 points, all 4 of them together, right? So it's just like we're not getting blown out. We're in these games to the end, and we're just taking all these like hard knock lessons early on the season. But I'm pretty sure you guys talked about it too. It's just that's a good thing. Like this is actually a good thing. If we take the step back from
long term, right?
Yes,
long term versus short term.
Long term but I'm talking about even like this season, it's good, because it's a long season. All we need is like a couple of 3 or 4 game win streaks here and there, bam, bam, and we're right back in this thing. But big stats for me tonight. I mean, we only had 6 steals. That's pretty low for us. I think we've been averaging around like 9 or 10 steals per game. Turnovers, we had 14 turnovers as well. Another big stat for me was just like, dude, like, how do you miss 13 shots in a row? And it was just like that lack of energy, man. They had no rhythm
too.
They had like no rhythm to anything, and it kind of felt like tired legs, right? But I mean, that's one heck of a dry spell, right? Like it was the last, if I'm not mistaken, it was like the last 4 or 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Yep.
And then like the first 3 or 4 minutes of the second quarter, we just couldn't score the ball. And that honestly just let, I mean, that's
when Jalen Brunson started going crazy.
Oh my God. Talk about big stats. 20. No, wait, where is he? The dude killed us to 19 points. Dude had 7 rebounds. How does he get 7 rebounds?
At the end of the game, I was like, Devin, like, I know that you're young, but like, dude, how are you letting Jalen Brunson out rebound you? You're 6'7", dude. Like
he got the biggest rebound of the game. That offensive rebound, man. Oh my goodness, man. That sucked. But 5 assists too for Brunson.
Yeah, and that's no hate. Like I know this is something that it was inevitably going to happen. Like with a player like Devin. Like I'm not trying to be like, like, oh my God, we got to cut him because of that play. It's just that was just a tough play to watch, and it's like once again goes back to this young team.
Yeah, yeah. It was good to see Devin though. He hit that one shot down the stretch that he kind of like crept up into the paint, creeped up into the paint a little bit and just kind of put it up. That was good for him. That was good for his confidence, I feel, because like he had missed that shot in the previous like 2 games, that kind of late, fourth quarter shot that we kind of need him to hit. So that was good for him. But anyways, huge stat of the night. Freaking Sparty went off, right? Dude, let me see. 5 for 7. 5 for 7 from the 3-point line. Unbelievable, bro. It's funny because like when he's going off, you're like, okay, he's gonna stay in the game. You kind of gotta live with his defense, but he was knocking down shots tonight, so I thought that was huge.
I think he's a much improved defender after that year in Milwaukee as well. There were times where he was posting up on Luka and doing a pretty good job. Like, look, he's Bryn Forbes. We know what it is. There's going to be some times where he gets beat on defense, but still his effort and just his positioning on guys is much improved from before. And just another note on that, if we can get Bryn to shoot like this also, like if he shot like this in the last 3 games, and we'd have Doug McDermott when he gets back from his injury, when those 2 guys are going to be consistently hitting threes, that could also be the difference for us and these young guys, because it's like if the young guys could play the same way as they always do, but you get 2 more threes from Doug in this game and you still have, Bryn's threes, you win the game. So
yeah, that's like the ideal scenario, right? Having Dougie and Bryn going off in the same game. But it was just good to see him kind of get some like just some good run underneath him, because it's been tough for him. I feel like he hasn't even, when he's on the floor, it's like I feel like he can't even, like he's just getting pushed around and shit. I'm like, dude, come on, man, like step it up a little bit. But he did tonight. He had a great game tonight.
I feel like it felt forced in kind of all the other games with Brandon. Even his first shot tonight did. Like in the step back mid ranges, like we just don't need that from Bryn the majority of the time, at least the super long ones. But tonight it was like he finally got in rhythm, and lo and behold, he hit 5 threes.
Yeah, huge.
I just cringe every time he dribbles the basketball, though. It's like, God, just give it to somebody else, Bryn. God, please.
Dude,
just shoot the ball.
In my opinion, in the first 4 games, this is really the only game where I've kind of seen him get open, really. I feel like he hasn't been able to get open. Like, and so
exactly.
I don't know if just people are headhunting him a little bit different. Maybe they're putting better defenders on him. I mean, I don't know. He and Jalen Brunson were kind of matched up tonight, so that was entertaining to watch, but it sucks, man, seeing him just go to work on us.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So when we get right back, we're going to go ahead and talk about a glow spot. That's an area that we thought the Spurs actually shined in tonight. Maybe the glow was a little bit dimmer than other times, but there's still a little glow there. All right, go Spurs Nation. So I've kind of like mentioned a little bit in the previous thing. Bryn Forbes was a huge glow spot for me tonight. Just seeing him have a great game. Ethan, what's a glow spot for you, man?
I've been trying to figure it out this entire time. I mean, I could go with, again, the 40% as a team from 3. That's nice to have. Man, we had 11 blocks on the game. That's great to see. I guess a big picture thing is we never gave up, which is nice, because we had that really prolonged drought of not being able to get a bucket, and they were just slowly creeping in. It was like a slow.
We could have let the game get away from us. That's a great point.
It was a slow death, man. Like we weren't scoring, and they weren't scoring like quickly either. Like they were just like methodically getting buckets, and Jalen Brunson was slowly starting to cook, and we just watched our lead dwindle away. But we kept fighting in there. We kept trying to, play hard-nosed defense. Keldon had that really impressive steal kind of toward the end of the game where we thought maybe we can cut it down, which we did, to a 3-point game, but ultimately lost. But I just love the grit of this team. There's never an ounce of like, oh, they're not trying anymore. They think that they've lost. Like they fight all 48 minutes, and it's always a great thing to see.
Yeah. What do you think, Jude?
I really like that point. Like I said, the fact that they didn't just lay over is something that, like, in a frustrating loss like this, for the way that, the mentality that Spurs fans are just accustomed to at this point, that's still a good thing. But as I mentioned this earlier, my biggest glow spot is Jakob Poeltl. His rim protection and his glass cleaning. You mentioned that, Rob, and I didn't, like, after you said it, it really opened my eyes after that first Magic game. I mean, it's such an asset to have, like, when you can just have somebody like go, okay, let me get this missed shot, rebound, put it back in, easy, right? But the way that he's been swatting people, I mean, he's been straight up like disrespecting dudes. He didn't care if it was Anthony Davis. He didn't care if it was Dwight Powell. I mean, obviously Dwight Powell, very different players, but that's the whole point. He's swatting both of them the same, and he's playing with that energy and that intensity that we need him to play with on defense. He's still the glow spot. And just overall, with the way that Drew played tonight as well, just rim protection as a whole, from our posts, was pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. Jakob has honestly looked like our best player from game to game. He even got like a shout out from, I don't know if you saw, like, the Ringers, the Ryan Russillo show on the Ringer. He was talking about the Lakers Spurs game. If you haven't seen it, just go ahead and check it out. But he gives Jakob a shout out. He was like, yeah, he was in that Kawhi trade. He's like, man, he's looking great tonight.
Him and Keldon.
Yeah. And well, finally he's making, Jakob's making us look good on that one this season. But yeah, he's been huge, man. And it was against the Lakers. I think it was in the third quarter where I was like, I'm gonna keep track of what happens when he's like what's the differential with him on the floor versus off the floor. And with him on the floor, we're like we're about 8 to 10 points better than we are with him off the floor. And the hard part about that is that it's too obvious. It's too obvious just that when he comes off the floor, everything changes. Like everything changes, and we cannot get it going. But he's been a huge glow spot for me too this season. I'm just gonna kind of roll with you on this one. I gotta give him all the credit in the world, and I gotta eat crow when I need to eat crow. And I remember this offseason, I was saying, like, I don't even know what Jakob getting better on offense looks like. I'm just like, I don't know. Just besides dunking the ball, I was like, what else? Like, because he hadn't really shown much of anything else,
No.
you know? So I'm
The
just like,
pop
but
shot, we had no faith, but
oh my
here it
God.
is.
Yes. Like the pop shot that would drive us crazy. He's probably, he's like shooting, I think, somewhere around 70%
Oh,
for
Yeah,
field goal range.
72%. Yeah.
Huge.
It's
He-
I mean, it's swish. Like, I mean,
Yes.
he's got it down.
That one's going in. He's finishing around the rim. He's dunking a little bit here and there, but the passing, the playmaking, the defense went up a notch. And like, but offensively, right? The screen setting, the way he's like sealing guys, and it's just like, man, this guy is doing so much more. I was like, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do this before? I was like, we really could have used this, Jakob, like
Right.
for the past 2 years that you've been on the team. And I know like 2 seasons ago, he really didn't get much playing time. But last year for sure. I mean, we could have used a lot of this last year. But yeah, no, so I'm gonna roll with you that one on that one. That Jakob is just game to game our best dude. 14 points, 13 rebounds tonight, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. I mean, he's like those are like freaking like Nikola or Vucevic, like from like 2 or 3 seasons ago, whatever. Vucevic with Orlando was just just flat out stuffing the stat sheet. He's got a little bit of potential now to kind of join that elite class of big men. I think in these first 5 games, I think if you talk about maybe top 7 or 8 big men like that kind of do that skilled craft, like the passing and finding guys back door and all that stuff. Jakob's fighting for that, and he's a big low spot. Yeah, so the shooting from Lonnie Walker was great for me tonight. He was 5 for 11 from the field, right? 2 for 7 for 3, but he was putting the ball in the hole.
He played well
Into the
tonight.
rim.
It may not look like the most efficient game on the stat sheet, but he took open shots and made a positive impact.
Yeah. Trey Jones played 7 minutes.
A brief cameo in there.
Yeah. I was thinking coming into this game, I was like, you know what? We're tired. And that did show. But I was like, we came off this Laker game, the overtime game just 2 days ago. We're going to see a lot of guys play. I was real excited. I was like, I think we're going to see more guys play. Then we saw like Bryn Forbes check in the first quarter. We saw Trey Jones check in, and Keita Bates-Diop checked in. And I was like, good. Maybe we'll see like Landale and some of these other guys. But nah, that game quickly went up a notch in stakes when these guys started coming back. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about a growth spot when we get right back. And just to remind you guys that after the show, after we're done with these segments, we're gonna go ahead and hit up the live chat for a little bit for those of you guys that are here live. All right. So go Spurs, go. Let's go ahead and talk about a growth spot. It's an area that we still need to improve on. Go Spurs, go. So Jude, I mean, like you've been saying, it's tough. These learning experiences are tough. What is one thing from tonight's game that we learned, right? Since we're learning things every single game, it feels like. But yeah, what stood out for you?
Well, it's hard to choose just one thing. I have so many things I want to talk about. I feel like the most prevalent issue tonight, like out of all the things that I had written down, the one that caused the most issues is just straight up our offensive execution when DeJounte Murray is off the floor. That's it. I mean, we have to have, I mean, and even sometimes when DeJounte's on the floor, we're just passing the ball around the wing, and then, Keldon's going to dribble a little bit, can't find anything. Let me pass it to Derek when he does the exact same thing. And we're just doing that. And it's like, this is reminding me of Patty Mills, DeMar DeRozan, and Rudy Gay guys. Like, don't, not to a much lesser extent, obviously. Yeah. But y'all get what I'm saying. The stagnation is when our offense has issues. So we got to figure out some sets and stuff like that. But what I will say is this may also have been exaggerated because of the fact that Doug McDermott was hurt. Because I feel like even though we've had slow starts and we still have been trying to find those guys to like get a bucket, in some senses, like even when Doug's on the floor, still like I feel like we run more plays when Doug's in the offense just by the nature of him running off of screens and his off-ball movement. But yeah, it's just that offensive execution when DeJounte's off the floor.
Huge. What do you think, Ethan?
Ditto, and I'm going to add, we have to find a better way to get Keldon Johnson involved in the offense. Because right now it seems like he's trying to force it way too much in the sense that he gets the ball and he's just going to do one thing. And the best thing that he does is also the worst thing that he does, which is just grab it and go a million miles an hour straight to the hole. And if it's not there, he's going to like pick up his dribble and kind of freak out and like, where am I going to give this? Maybe travel a couple times and throw it back out. There's not a lot of like methodical, okay, I'm going to take him off the dribble a little bit. If it's not there, I'll pass it back out, maybe run off the screen. There's none of that. And it's resulted in his efficiency getting a lot worse. I think he had 26 points in which game was it? Was that the very first
Magic?
The Denver game too, he went off.
Oh wow.
He went off in the Denver game?
27 in Denver, I think.
27 in Denver?
Yeah.
When he's on, he's great, but it's the one-dimensionalness of his involvement in our offense that worries me, because he's a great player and I think we all expected great things from him this season. But it's so hot and cold because if that one thing that he does so great isn't working, he's basically not involved. And that worries me.
That's a great point. 10 points tonight. I think he was our leading scorer, I think, on average. I think he's putting up like what 15 a game or something like that, because he had a big game against Orlando. You guys are right. Yeah. But he also had a huge game against Denver, just to follow that up. But you're absolutely right. And how do we get him more involved without, I feel like, stopping the ball? I feel like if we want to do that, if we want to get him touches, because I feel like Keldon could eventually have that kind of back you down Kawhi Leonard.
He was our leading scorer coming into this game, which is there you go.
Yeah, but he does it like that's what I say. It's ugly. It's not pretty, right? He's doing it off steals, off putbacks, off he has I don't know, he's only hit maybe 1 or 2 threes so far this season. His mid-range jumper looked great against Denver. That's what I'm saying, man. That Denver game, he was like the best player on the floor for about 80% of that game when he was on there, when he was in there, for us at least. But yeah, so that's huge. That's a huge thing, and it's something that I think we talked about. I think when Jude, when I and TSR Sports did the show, I guess it was against Orlando. One of my big concerns was like, okay, Doug McDermott's not in the game, and that's because Doug McDermott is, and I'm approaching this like if he's our only like security blanket, and he's shown to us that like he's not, right. Like he's either going to be on or completely off. Like that's what we've gotten out of him this season. And then, so I'm thinking, okay, so who's it going to be, and to me, it's showing DeJounte. It's like all DeJounte. DeJounte's our guy that we can actually count on. Derek hasn't gotten there yet. Keldon hasn't gotten there yet consistently, right? And Jakob's our second most consistent guy, I think, so far in the starting lineup. And to me, the question eventually becomes, and I don't think it's anytime soon, I'm thinking maybe after this like first 15, 20 games, do we need to make an adjustment for Keldon? Do we need to bring Keldon off the bench? Can we put him in a better position to do what he does and be successful at it off the bench against second units and things like that? You start bringing him and Lonnie Walker off the bench together. I always liked that. Last season, whenever it did happen, whenever they're in the game together, they have great chemistry. So I think there's some of those questions to be had moving forward. And, I think Devin Vassell's that guy that kind of comes in for either, it was Lonnie Walker tonight. Lonnie Walker got the nod tonight, right? And I thought he played okay, but I still like the idea of Devin in there to start the game. So that's a huge growth spot from both of you guys. Actually, I'm right here with you, Jude. I have it. I don't know if you can sit down there. It's like execution on that last play. What the heck were we doing when the ball ended up here? I don't know what happened to my overlay. The ball ended up in Jakob's hand for like a little floater off DJ's like little kickoff. You know what I'm talking about? Like the one that we called a timeout for. Because like first Derek White, we couldn't score on that transition opportunity. And that was huge, man. Like we needed to score that, like 30 seconds left. We got the ball and Derek White couldn't get the shot off. We couldn't find anything out of transition. And then we had to call the timeout. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That play right after that, we drew something up and I don't know what the heck it was for. I think we were down 3 and I don't know, like DeJounte turns down a shot or misses a shot and then he ends up in Jakob's hand. I don't know, man. It was it was just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And that's already 2 or 3 times now down the stretch. Last time it happened as well. It was just like, can we execute in the fourth quarter? And it's on both ends. It's not just on offense. Like we need to execute a way to win, right? Like we're in these games. It means that, certain things have to go right. And when they do, we have to be ready to execute on those opportunities. And that's a lot of learning, right? So these guys are doing a lot of learning here in here in the beginning of the season. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm all right with that moving forward.
I can give you some more if you want.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
All right. So hands overall as a team holding on to the ball. Derek has had major issues with this year. It's come out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on. We see it a little bit with Drew Eubanks. We see it even a little bit with Jakob. We literally see it with everybody. There's just been a little bit of, lost touch on the dribble. It's like everybody's turning into Lonnie a little bit, even though Lonnie's getting better. It's a weird thing, but that is one thing because those are just freebies that we're giving up. Yeah. But two, our defensive rotations. How many times did Jakob Poeltl get on Luka Doncic on the perimeter? And then it's like we're surprised that he's hitting these step back threes. It's like, dude, this guy literally was winning championships in professional basketball like 4 years ago in a different league. But it's just I'm like, they kept letting it happen. Everybody's just like, no help defense, like, or at all. And I understand that you don't want to leave some guy open or let him cut, but it's like at that point, like, what it's going to be. Like, at least go over and try to help him and try to force, like a turnover where it's into a pass. I mean, they even stole some of Luka's passes. Like, do it again. That frustrated me at the end of the game. I'm like, you're just letting this happen. And then there were other times where people have been left open throughout the season. I will say in the last episode, I talked about how Keita Bates was a little slow. He got better this game. I watched a couple of specific plays where he knew where to be, but still there were times where guys were left wide open and given easy mid-range jumpers, whether it's Tim Hardaway Jr. or whoever, but just we're still learning how to play team defense. So got to get better at that too.
Yeah. Anything else, Ethan? Vent to me. Let me hear it, man. Let me hear it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm here for
Jude
it.
Pretty much took all of them.
Yeah. No, I know, man. It's tough. It's just
like we do a show
tough.
together.
Yeah. We just have a whole segment called Jude's Rants.
Yeah, guys. So those of you guys that are watching right now, thank you guys for hanging out with us live, right? If you're watching live, please smash that like button down below. Chant Go Spurs Go when you do. Again, this is Jude and this is Ethan from SSPN. Make sure to go ahead and check out their channel on YouTube as well. And guys, before I let you guys go, any final thoughts just on this game or on the next game? We got Milwaukee again this weekend. In Milwaukee this time. Y'all got any thoughts on that?
Shoot, I mean, you just told me that, and now I'm depressed. I'm just playing. That'll be another probably tough one. Look, if we can hang around with that Milwaukee team again, I don't know what their injury report's looking like. I don't know if Brook Lopez and all those guys, Drew Holiday. Is Drew Holiday even on the Bucks still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. I don't know why I thought for some reason he might have not been, but yeah, both of those guys coming back will be a problem. But if we can somehow keep that honestly within like 15 points, if those guys are back, I'm cool with it. Just hang around, be competitive in that game, and then go play the Pacers and try to win.
Yeah. We got the Pacers on Monday, man. We got the Pacers on Monday.
Yes, finally. And that's not even a guaranteed win.
Yeah, I know. They're all right this season. They're playing pretty good.
Magic,
Ethan, you got
Friday, November 5th.
yes. There, circle that one. Circle that one. We got Milwaukee, Indiana, Dallas again, Orlando, Oklahoma City. Those are our next 5 games. So we have a chance to maybe bring this up to about 4 and 6, 4 and 7, maybe by the end of the next week or two. So we'll see, man. As long as we keep, learning and moving forward after these losses. Ethan, you got anything on this game or anything moving forward?
I just hope Doug McDermott comes back as quickly as possible because he definitely adds an entire layer to our offense, especially if DeJounte's not on the court. Yeah. And Derek needs to show me something soon, or I'm going to be hopping off the train pretty quick because he's been pretty abysmal since he had that 20-point performance, I think, against Orlando was when he last had.
It was only 16, but that was his last 16? Good game.
Yeah, he needs to show me something quick offensively. Defensively, he's pretty much always been consistent, but he's got to start scoring if he's going to be our highest paid player.
I don't know if you were about to say this, Rob. Are you about to talk about the field goal stat? On the broadcast? No. Okay. Well, I was going to say that is, despite Derek's struggles, he is leading like the entire league right now. Like players playing against him, they're shooting 33%, which is the lowest in the entire league. He's up there with like DeAndre Jordan, like basically all these posts that get blocks and stuff. So despite Derek's struggles, he's like leading the league in opponent field goal percentage on guys that one-on-one against him. So
look, man,
that's one sliver of hope.
You mentioned that block. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, man. And Derek actually has been making some late game plays for us, like, deflections. Like he got us off the second Murray missed free throw against the Lakers. He was able to turn that into a, loose ball for us. And but I'm with you, Ethan. I mean, like Derek needs to turn it on eventually. We can't just let
He's our highest paid player.
And to me, I'm okay with him like coming off the bench and getting paid what he gets paid. That's fine. But we need him. We can't just take we can't take too long. We can't take too long. I really like what the Spurs are doing this season. Like if you're not playing well, they sit you. I think they've done that a few times. Like they do that with Bryn. Like Bryn, if you're not going to hit your first 2 shots, it's like, bye, you know what I mean? And then Doug McDermott in the last game, he was off and they sat him. So Lonnie, same thing. You know what I mean? So with Derek, I think his defense is irreplaceable. Like I can't see us doing it because he's one of the best defenders in the league, in my opinion. But man, offensively, it hurts. And there's just so many cool options that you can kind of throw out there to replace him with. You want to go Lonnie, you go Devin, you go big or whatever, you get another big in there. I don't know, whatever you want to do, because you can kind of shuffle Keldon up to the 3, however you want to play it. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Again, I'm not sure if we make too many adjustments for a little while, but that's definitely something to keep your eye on moving forward. But all right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. It was a great night. Thank you guys for coming on. Jude, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, man?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitter at Jude McClaren. You can also find me on SSPN on YouTube. Yes, it's literally a play on words of what you would think. S is for Spurs, like ESPN, no copyright, but that is our channel. We do some lives, and then we also do some reaction videos whenever there's breaking news, like when Lucas Samanich got cut. So just literally type in SSPN on your podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever, or on YouTube, and that's where you can find me at Jude McClaren. I do it with my guy, Ethan, who is about to talk to y'all.
Yeah, Ethan, holler at Spurs Nation, man.
Hollering at Spurs Nation. This is Ethan Quintero. You can find me on Twitter at Ethan_Quintero. I'm also on SSPN, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. Jude pretty much summed it up, so I won't take too much of your time.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We'll see you guys soon, man.
Yes, thank sir. Thank y'all.
Spurs go.
Go Spurs go.
All right, Spurs Nation. So a big shout out to Ethan and Jude for coming on the show. They're from SSPN. Again, just search them up in the YouTube channel. I'm not going anywhere yet. Those of you guys that are still on, we ain't going nowhere. We're still going to be talking Spurs basketball. We're going to be going into the live chat. We're going to be taking your questions. Just to let you guys know, if you want to drop a tip with those questions in the super chat, it'll be highlighted like, a green or red color, and I'll be able to see it. And those obviously will get priority. So thank you so much. If you're a Patreon member, I'm going to try to find you as well in the chat room. Just to let you guys know, if you're a Patreon member, also I'm working on getting you guys moderating access to my live streams, where my Patreon members will be able to come in here into the live stream and kind of, take control behind the scenes, right? So we're going to take this real short 1.5-minute break, and we're going to be right back to answer your questions. So if you got any questions for me, or you just have any comments about this game, go ahead and drop them in the live chat. We're going to hang out for a little bit. Go Spurs go. Right now, we're going to watch a few ways on how you can support your favorite Spurs channel. That's SpursTubeTv. There's a few ways. You can join the Patreon like we talked about. You can go to the website and do all types of things. All right. So when we get right back, I'm diving into the live chat. Go Spurs go. Smash this like button down below. Go Spurs go. Cheap Spurs tickets are at SpursTubeTv.com. How to find the cheapest tickets to NBA games this season? Well, that's easy. Head over to SpursTubeTv.com, check out the home menu, click on the tickets tab, and head over to our page that will send you to ScoreBig.com. They always are in the running for the cheapest tickets online, even against some of the bigger name companies like StubHub and SeatGeek. When you click on our links, it supports this channel. If you're planning on going to an NBA game, sporting event, or concert in the near future, stay safe and remember to check if SpursTubeTv can save you money before you purchase. The link is in the description below. If you want to support the content creators directly, head over to the shop at SpursTubeTv.com/shop to check out all the merch from the SpursTubeTV brand and all of their contributors. More merch coming soon. Shop link is in the description below. This channel only exists because of Patreon. Without our Patreon support, we could not have the funds to keep this ship afloat. So we are excited about this season and servicing our Patreon members. If you are in the fortunate position to pledge $5, $10, or even $15 a month, you become a part of the backbone of this channel and get some sweet perks along the way. Join the Patreon. Link is in the description below. You know what? Just notice, guys, that I don't think the chat is turned on. Wow, that's extremely weird. For the first time, I don't know why StreamYard kept it on private. I can't turn it into a public video while I'm live. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go ahead and delay this live chat. Because the live chat isn't even on. Just realized that right now. So go Spurs go. We're gonna have to end this thing right now. But thank you guys for hanging out with us, and go ahead and check out the channel for more Spurs content. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, thank you for hanging out. And if you are watching right now and you have a podcast ear, you love to listen to podcasts, check out SpursTubeTv. But we're gonna go ahead and say adios, amigos. All right, go Spurs go. We'll catch you guys next week. We will be doing the announcement for the November schedule of post-game content coming your way. So stay tuned on our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter at SpursTubeTv, and then on Instagram as well on SpursTubeTV. And I'll be putting posts here on YouTube as well. So if you guys are joining with us right now, thank you so much for hanging out. The Spurs fall to the Dallas Mavericks again. We were 1-4. It's a tough schedule. We've been in these games. We're going to learn moving forward. As long as we keep getting better, I think our ceiling is pretty high, because we're a pretty good ball club right now. So don't get that mixed up, Spurs Nation. All right, so go Spurs go. I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.